Seeker here. And, okay, so Dragon Knight. So Waga will take Dragon Knight
Jungle
mid.
Bloodseeker, maybe?
Maybe it is the Jungle Bloodseeker.
Off-lane Shaker, Jungle Bloodseeker, Dragon Knight mid, Gyro safe lane.
No, it's Bambo that takes the Seeker.
Or it could be Support Shaker and Witch Doctor. So yeah, it does look like Support Shaker and Witch Doctor.
Yeah, EGM will take the the Earth Shaker, so... Okay, Dragon Knight. Now, that's a pick we don't get to see too often. He's definitely a lot better on this patch than he was on the last patch, though still not really a pushing meta. The biggest change, of course, is that Breathe Fire. Now it has some damage reduction. Yeah, fairly minor overall. I don't know, what do you think about Dragon Knight right now, especially against the Shadow Fiend matchup? That's kind of a tricky one.
He gives them a great stun versus the Storm. It's a terrible matchup versus Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend crushes that lane, unless you get a lot of support. But later on in the game, he gives you really good lockdown. So I like him for the overall game plan. By the way, I also adore this set. It's one of my favorite ones out of the new chest.
Yeah, this one is. I was just looking at it. This set is.
Although he
really
doesn't have
cool.
the Immortal Dragon, which I have to question. Waga, step up to your hat game, man. With all his viewers, I'm sure he has better hats than this.
Yeah, that's a good
He
point.
probably gets donations out the wazoo. I know Blitz does, but he's
Everybody
a
wants
human being.
Everybody wants to sign an item and give it to their favorite player. I've seen a glimpse of Sing Sing's inventory. It is gross.
How many pages of items does he have?
God, I don't. It's an absurd.
Because he plays a
amount,
lot
though.
and he doesn't smurf. A lot of the other pro players will use alt accounts, like Arteezy comes to mind, and so they don't accumulate all their items on one account. But I don't think I've ever seen Sing Sing smurfing.
Yeah, I don't think he really does that. That's not his jam. So how did these lanes look here? Boogie will indeed be supporting on this Earthshaker, the Spirit Breaker. So Trixie just takes the Clockwork to the off lane. Looks like things will be fairly standard in terms of lanes.
In Dota 1, that mistake was easier to make, I feel like. The Taurens all kind of look somewhat similar, you know?
Yeah.
I know they weren't actually Taurens, right? But they kind of just looked more like them in that game, I feel like.
The Spirit Walkers were still cow-esque, you know? They're all from that same kind of gene pool of bovine. I don't know how that happened in the lore, but they were ghosts. Yeah, they were. Oh, okay. So they were like, you know, ghost
spirits
cows.
of cows.
Spirit cows. You know, back at the secret cow level, you know, they all got reincarnated and became orcs.
All right. Well, with that, let's introduce the teams here. We're officially underway. We'll start at the bottom lane for 4 Clovers. We've got Bambo playing the safe lane Seeker. It will be an Earthshaker for EGM. Heading mid will be Waga on the Dragon Knight. And then top, another dual lane for 4 Clovers. They'll have Weeha on the Gyro, Bankscore on the Witch Doctor. But bottom, looks like we had an early skirmish, and Boogie has Spirit Breaker's off to do. Gets the better of it.
Yeah, Boogie here on the position 4 Spirit Breaker, it would seem. Matumba Man on the position 1 Storm on an aggro try with Volek supporting on the Shadow Priest Dazzle. Nemphy mid on the Shadow Fiend. That leaves Trixie for some safe lane farm here on the Clockwork. Now, an aggro tri-lane with a very interesting medley of heroes. Storm, not typically your tri-lane hero. Usually you want to put him in the safe lane if he's not mid, have your supports pull in the jungle, because he needs XP. And when you're sharing with 2 other heroes, it can be hard to get that prized ball lightning in a timely manner.
Early on in the mid lane, things going... Oh, we're going to have that Bloodseeker sound was very loud.
Yeah, no, he's just getting ready to kill some creeps, don't worry.
Yeah, early on in the mid lane, it was looking really good for Dragon Knight, but now Shadow Fiend, he's used a couple raises, he got a couple last hits under the tower, and all of a sudden, 8 souls in his pocket. Dragon Knight is CSing well, but as the Shadow Fiend continues to level up, he can spam the waves out a little bit easier. They may make a go here with a cask from Bankscore. No Maledict, though. Nah, not going to bother. And then he can start controlling the runes, stacking the jungle, and looking to pull ahead a bit in the lane. But mostly going to be a farm trade here. Unlikely to see any kills unless supports make their moves.
Yeah. So the great thing about this lane setup from 4ASC is that Clockwork is getting a lot. He's already level 3. He's got 8, 9 last hits. He's doing quite well. Much better than what we saw last game with Trixie, where he was completely zoned out. And now Gyro should be able to farm just fine. Oh, almost a fissure there from EGM, thinking they could block out the Storm, but they'll save it for another day.
Yeah, this is not a fun lane for the Clock. He should be able to get his levels, but if you ever cog in the Gyro, you're going to regret it. One of the few heroes that can punish it more than anything else.
Yeah, I guess if you have some creeps in there, then maybe it can go the other way, but that's a very specific situation when he's right on top of the creeps when you're fighting him. Most Gyros are pretty well aware that they don't want to be in cogs if there's creeps around.
He's also got high base move speed. Clockwork has above average. I believe it's 315, but Gyro has the same, and so he's able to play keep away a lot easier than quite a few other heroes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Both of them rather speedy.
Or maybe it's 310.
No, they're both the same with brown boots.
Yeah.
So yeah, both at 315. They really want to pressure this Storm. You can see EGM, he just keeps fake pumping that fissure. He is ready to try and trap him out, but they can't quite find the opening. Their magic bush was also blocked, so they have no hard camp in the jungle, and of course no pole camp to utilize here, which is giving some lane control to this Dire side.
Well, they are making a move, though. Spirit Breaker going for the backstab. Potential charge on mid. If they get a good charge with a triple raise, they might be able to kill Waga. He's just hit level 5. This is the perfect time to go. Boogie just needs the wave to get shoved in a bit further before he makes his move. It's only level 1, though, so he's not going to have any sort of follow-up to this.
Yeah, this is a really tricky kill. I mean,
you can't really stop it if you're Dragon Knight, though, because it's a melee range stun. You're going to get hit by the charge before you can get anything off here.
Yeah, Nemphy's pretty low on mana, though. He just barely has enough for 2 raises if they do commence the charge. This is costly for Boogie.
It's a lot of time invested here. Maybe trying to bait here. Gets up that first raise, but now the Shaker's in position. Charge comes through. It will hit on Waga, but Nemphy's already low enough that he may be forced to retreat. They brought in a third. Matumba Man joins the lane. Lane mid all of a sudden, and with that, they will get the first blood. Secured on Waga. It was a 4-hero investment. I think still worth it for the first blood, but there are some benefits here for Clovers, Gyro, free farming top, even more so, and well, over on the bottom lane, Bambo going to have an easy time of it.
Yeah, I wonder if Waga had the same thought I did. Where the hell did that Storm come from? He was farmed in the off lane just a second ago, but it looks like they're going to pull a rotation here so that Matumba
Another
Man
charge and another backstab charge at that.
Yep, hard to predict, but this time Van scores here. He's got the coconut, also the sustainability from the Voodoo Restoration. It's absolutely huge here. And Weehaw will stay alive. Trixie will TP out. Now they want to go into Matumba Man. Still not level 6, only level 3 in fact. Rocket Barrage does a lot of damage, and he will be pushed back.
Oh, he actually had Phase Boot Gold, but didn't have a chance to go buy them. If the Phase Boots are there, Weehaw gets that kill too, but they still might. Here comes the backstab. Big fissure from Mr. EGM. He saw the movement with the Observer Ward and just times it absolutely perfectly.
Very nice. And down bottom, as we've seen in a lot of these games, kills erupt in multiple lanes at once because once somebody gets low, Bloodseeker gets all that damage, all that movement speed. Dazzle just said, forget about this, I'm out. He TP'd out at full HP. Bloodseeker couldn't finish him off. So there was action happening everywhere. And that's one of the powerful things about the Bloodseeker in the laning stage is that you can set things up in other places while finding kills in the off lane or mid or what have you.
This won't be a fun lane for him, though. Although he'll have sustain, he's never going to have mana here if the clock plays it right. And well, actually, he does have stick, so maybe he'll have just enough for Rupture. But Trixie, fairly tanky, can probably just stand his ground with Battery Salt and emerge intact for now. Bambo trying to give him the harass, but top lane, they found Boogie. Has a charge. Cast going to come through. Fissure's there. No chance to charge away. And
beautifully done. You can
Clovers,
see
another kill.
The charge has a cast point on it, and the Spirit Breaker does that. He plants his feet and does that thing. He did it about 3 times there, and they just had the stuns queued perfectly to stop him from getting off that charge. Nice execution from the Clovers. And they're starting to pull into the lead here, LD. This last hit chart's looking pretty green towards the top.
Yeah, 3 of the top 4 farmers, and that's big. These heroes can really snowball with that early farm. It's not like these heroes get farm and then kind of sit back. They go ham. Dragon Knight runs at you with the Shadow Blade. Gyrocopter will go in with Phase Boots, Aquila, maybe a Drums or BKB, and up bottom they found Trixie. Bloodright comes out, and with that, if it hits, he's dead.
And there we go. Bambo chases him down. Easy peasy.
Vangscore has been all over the place. These rotations from both supports, actually. EGM and Vangscore have been spot on, and again, it feels like the support play is really deciding these games.
Yeah, and on the other side of the equation, I'd agree with you. I think Boogie's been a pretty lackluster presence so far. 0-1-1 on the Spirit Breaker. He is level 3, so that's something. He's got his 1-1-1 now, a little bit of extra movement speed with the Empowering Haste. Lining up for a potential kill onto Waga. They'll even TP Trixie, the Clockwork to the Tier 1 tower to perhaps have a go here. He's lining up, well, what would be for a hook shot, but he hasn't hit level 6 yet. Just needs another creep kill or so. They really want this Dragon Knight.
This is a Dragon Knight, though. The hero obviously needs some farm. You want the BKB at Shadow Blade or later on something.
Right now, there's a Bloodseeker left completely alone. There's a Gyro farming.
He's not that farm dependent, and he's getting his levels anyway. They are looking to make a move here on Waga. They'll find him. Should be able to kill him with the raise as well.
Okay. Nice little gank setup there. There will be a TP rotation from Vanscore. Coconut bouncing around, hoping for a little RNG to go back to Boogie. Won't quite find it. Another TP on the way. Will push the Shadow Fiend back to his side.
3 mana, but there's no follow-up.
Oh, the Rupture. He says, charge now, son! What are you going to do? No options here for Boogie, and yeah, he's definitely
happening. Valix got almost finished off by the Gyrocopter top, who's just bullying 3 heroes back single-handedly. Has the call down. Valix forced to retreat. Bloodseeker is moving towards top. Bambo wants to get active. There's your call down. Going to hit on Matumba Man once. Won't get him the second time, but I don't think he needs either. There's no level 6. Weehaw just beating back a tri-lane top. That's before the Bloodseeker could even get there.
Radiant's
And this is the
middle
worry,
tower is
Andrew, is
under
all
attack.
three of these heroes with an early advantage could just get completely out of control.
And this is the big problem with Tri-Lane Storm. We talked about it early on. It's a bottleneck. This hero becomes a
Dire's
completely
top
different
tower
force
is
when he
under
gets the
attack.
ultimate. We're now 8 minutes in. He just can't do anything. With just one little bit of ball lightning, that's a completely different scenario. He can juke the call down. He can mitigate some of that rocket barrage damage. Instead, he's
Radiant's
forced to
middle
just
tower
die. And
is
now
under
this will yield a
attack.
tier 1 tower kill. Glyph comes
Dire's
out, but Waga
structures are
still with plenty of
fortified.
duration left on his dragon form will be able to bring it
Dire's
down.
top
And
tower is
this
under attack.
gyrocopter, he's going to have a helm of iron, or pardon me,
Dire's top
HOD
tower
coming
has
out soon. He can start stacking ancients, and oh my, this is getting a little bit scary for this Dire side. Bambo's got an item coming out here.
They
as
do
he
have a
gets
charge
charged.
bottom. There. Oh, a hook shot misses. That really hurts.
Oh my.
If that hook hits, should be a kill, but
Hand of Midas recipe up on Bambo, so he'll have his Midas
Radiant's
here
middle
in about a
tower
minute.
is
Or
under
no,
attack.
he's got the gold for it in about a second. Okay. Units.
that's big. Meanwhile, mid, the tower getting pushed by Nymphy. A little piece of good news here for the 4 Anchors fans, and truth be told, they're not out of it by any means. They have good late game for sure with the Storm Shadow Fiend combo, but it's more just the momentum and the worry that, you know, you get that first item on a Dragon Knight, maybe farms onto a Shadow Blade next, the Bloodseeker gets his big item, Gyro gets a BKB at some point, then they just run at you, and 4 Anchors are almost entirely magic damage, I would say, through the early first 20-25 minutes or so. Later on, Shadow Fiend will right-click hard, but he's not going to be standing and fighting against this lineup when they have BKBs.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Even that Spirit Breaker, who's known for his sort of actually very similar to the Storm Spirit. They both need their right clicks to do damage, but it's the magic damage that really gets you. The Greater Bash, your Nether Strike, all magic. Same with Storm, all these overloads. But if you can't attack, if you don't have that attack speed, then yeah, things are not quite so good.
Yeah, are there? Yeah, it's a little bit. It's something that doesn't really make sense to me logically. Like, why would a bash be magic damage? Like, it seems like
Yeah.
it should be physical. Yeah, it's a very physical action.
I remember the
You're
first time
beating the
someone
shit out
told
of
me
someone.
that.
How is that magic?
I had that exact response, just like, dude, that doesn't make any sense. Then they just said, yeah, that's Dota, dude.
That's Dota. I guess if we want to start down the trail of like what's logical and not in Dota, then
Well,
we would be here a very long time making a very long list.
I think the big issue for Spirit Breaker is if he was all physical, you could just counter him with armor. You just get a medallion, not cast on anybody, and be like, "What's up, cheeseburgers? What are you gonna do now? Nice ult, bro."
Yeah, but to some extent, he's dealt with later on. Like, he's not there for the damage later on in the game. Generally, he's more there for the.
No, I
knockdown.
think like early on though, like in this interim before he's level 6, I mean he needs that magic damage to be able to secure kills. If that's all physical, of course there's situations where physical is better than magical, but I think giving him that balance lets him be a little more scary and not quite as counterable early on.
Well, Dazzle's all physical. Right.
Yeah, that's true, but he doesn't have a lantern, so
Okay. Touche.
yeah, you're all jacked up.
I can't
there.
argue with that, man. You got me there.
No, it's true. Dazzle's all physical, but it's just a different beast. I really think the Spirit Breaker is one of the bottlenecks for 4ASC. He needs momentum, and so far he just hasn't been able to do enough. And this is a hero that if he loses momentum going towards the mid game, he's just a liability. I mean, yeah, he can charge in, he can nether strike someone, but outside of that, he just has to kind of turn tail and run and just look for stragglers.
It's also
to pick
just
off.
hard to get off the charge this game. Fissure is a great way to interrupt it. Cask is quite good. Rupture can effectively punish you for getting off the charge.
Yeah.
Heroes like Dragon Knight and Gyrocopter are generally going to tank up and be very difficult to burst.
At least he can cancel the charge if he gets ruptured while he's charging out, so you're not
That would be the
totally
worst.
screwed.
That would be the worst.
You know, it's not like Sand King with an epicenter on top of a blade mail or something where
There
you're
should be
just
an-
like, oh, I'm just punching myself in the face and I can't stop it.
There should be an option like where you can choose like to cast like an uncancelable charge, but it does like extra damage or something. Not even that much extra, you know, a little bit extra.
Like Gambler's Paradise, you can just
The
kind of...
gambler's charge.
Oh. That would be cool. I could be into that. I like those kind
It's
of
the YOLO
mechanics.
charge. Like, you have to be willing to commit body and soul to this thing. You know? No half-ass bullshit.
That's
charge.
the future of cosmetics, LD. You get the item and it's like, all right, you have the option for the YOLO charge here.
Yeah, it can come with the Eggs upgrade.
That's actually not
Would
the
you
worst
like the
idea.
YOLO charge?
If it becomes 2 spells, regular charge and YOLO
Fuck yeah!
charge. Oh my. Yeah.
Uh-oh, Valix, that is not where you want to be, my friend.
Oh, the cask will bounce into the neutrals. It'll bounce back to him. Oh my gosh, Volix. RNG not with him today. And this Dazzle on the run, and we'll get off the grave. But where are you going, little pink dude? I mean, let's be real here.
All right. Yeah, take that heal.
Oh
Bam.
my.
Got him.
That cask bounced back to him 3 times, and there were 3 creeps in that
pretty
camp.
unlucky.
That's the worst.
Might have been dead anyway because the Bloodseeker was rotating in from
I think
the side.
so.
It's just more like...
That adds a little insult to injury
Salt
there.
in the wound, for
Yeah.
sure. But all the while, Nemphy going to look to take the tower mid. There is a glyph ready. They're bringing in reinforcements. Wagga looking for the stun. He's got the dragon form. They get it off. They need some backup here, but out comes the Blood Rite, so they can't charge in just yet. And now he'll be able to walk away. Dazzle there, but this does mean the tower gets denied. Pretty big win for Clovers.
Yes, absolutely. If they kill the Shadow Fiend there, that's a huge victory, but just denying the tower, slowing down their momentum. Boogie grabs himself an invisibility rune. It does get scouted out by Wagga, gives him a little love tap there just to let him know that it was scouted.
They got some good wards down, though. Just looking around the map right now, 4 anchors have lots of great vision. But there's a fight bottom.
Yeah, we'll see what happens to Trixie here. He's in his own cogs, call down after call down. Rocket Barrage will finish him off. Boogie watching the whole thing, but unable to really help out his friend there. Does not break the invis, at least not yet.
Is he looking for that big 4-hero charge through bottom? I don't think it's going to happen. No, they're charging mid, looking for Bambo. Radiant team has no idea it's coming. Now they see him, I think, but it's very late. Out comes the Blood Rite. There's the bash. Should be the kill. No, they couldn't get off any nukes.
Oh, man, Bambo just barely makes it back, and all the while, the rest of the Clovers are pressuring this tier 1 tower.
Like you said, Spirit Breaker and momentum. He needs his level 6.
Yeah. Yeah, if
it's
you're
11 minutes in.
If you're level 6 there, that's an easy kill. You queue up the Nether Strike. There's nothing the Bloodseeker can do about it. But bottom, hook shot in on the Vanscore. Cogs knocked back 2. Wagga and Weehaw just trying to run. All of a sudden, it's a 4-on-2, and they are in big trouble.
Boogie, or rather Trixie, with the big plays there on the Clockwork. That was colossal.
That was a massive fight. They get a big gain out of that, and that's a killing spree ended going the way of the Storm Spirits. And Matumba Man in particular getting a big boost from that.
He might find more. There's the Shaker Fissure. Doesn't actually stun him though, and he's got the level 4 battery, so they could chase into this. These heroes are dead for a little while. Reinforcements somewhat in the neighborhood. Trixie's like, where's my team? Where's my team? Where's my team? We're coming. We're coming for you, Trixie. There's the heal. The Grave is ready. He's not going to pop it just yet. He's heading onto it.
Oh no!
Insta-canceled, and now Valix may end up going down here. Vangscore doesn't really need the ult, but they'll lose Trixie as well, it seems. Storm engaging, goes on the Shaker. Matumba Man wants the kill. There's the stick up, juke through the trees, but that's a DD rune. With that Matumba Man, can he go for more? He's going to ball back. There's no rupture, and he should be able to make his way out.
Oh my. So a
little bit greedy to stick around.
Yeah, decent cleanup from 4C&L. Weird play from Vanscore, accidentally canceling his own ult. It could have been a next level play to try and bait that Dazzle in, because the Dazzle came in to grave the Clockwork. That forced the Dazzle to die, and then the Clockwork died anyhow. So I don't know. Weird plays. It does work out for the Clover though. The 4-leafed Clover. It's really a singleton clover with 4 leaves, even though we keep pluralizing the clovers themselves.
It rolls off the tongue better.
It really does. Well, and it's the comparative. There's 4 anchors. You got to have 4 clovers to balance it out.
Yeah, it only makes sense.
They're similar mass and weight. So, okay, 9-7, relatively even game. 4C&L been hanging on to this like 3K net worth, somewhere around 1,000, 1,500 XP lead, and it's stayed pretty consistent. We'll see if they can keep this momentum up. In terms of item progression, Bambo working on the BKB, the HOD now out for Weehaw, and the Shaker, well, he's at least got Arcane Boots. Still a ways off the Blink Dagger, but decent item progression. Dire side, Mech is out on Nemphy. That's probably the biggest item they've been able to pick up. Matumba Man will make some progress towards this Bloodstone, but still some ways to go. And Trixie looking for the Blade Mail, and very close. Less than 100 gold away from the Broadsword.
You know, it's pretty amazing to see a mid-tower versus a Dragon Knight at full health. It's only just started taking damage from this latest Dragon form. You don't see that very often.
To be fair, he's used his Dragon forms in the other lanes a bit more than that one little skirmish mid to repel the Shadow Fiend, but you're absolutely right. Usually the Dragon Knight will stay mid, try and pressure that lane when the opposition rotates out, rather than vice versa.
It's kind of the nature of the matchup as well. Shadow Fiend is so good at deep pushing.
Yeah, just clearing out those waves.
And we're hunting on the side shop here, unable to find anything now.
That was a smoke from the Clovers. Was unsuccessful. So that was
they gear up a charge here on Vangscore. Can they make a play? I don't think you go for this. Oh, if he runs into mid, then they can make the opening happen. And there you go. They find Vangscore. He just walks into it, embraces the charge, and he will fall. Meanwhile, bottom.
Okay.
Trixie ruptured, and we'll just keep you away.
Good heads-up play there. So 4SC getting a little more momentum coming their way, but I feel like the Clovers are still just farming a lot more. Right now, they're roaming about while Sexy Bambo just farms up. He's halfway to the recipe for his BKB. That makes his life a lot easier this game. He can kind of just charge in, feel brave, and not be too scared about it. But they're going to try to gank him here. Charge comes across the tree line. Raises get set up. Bambo headed to the grave. Down he goes. It's the Shadow Fiend that gets credit for that killing spree ended. Nice bout of gold going his way.
And with that, I believe the BKBs are going to be coming out fairly soon here. The Bloodseeker BKB, despite the death, still has 2 components. Shadow Fiend, does he have anything in the on the base? No, I guess
just
not.
1,600 gold after the mech, so he's still feeling pretty good. Number 1 on net worth now by a nice bump after killing the Bloodseeker there. Now a charge onto Waga. Hook shot from Trixie. Finally, the Spirit Breaker.
Eaten alive, man. Poor guy.
Yeah, they're really picking on him here. Now Trixie uses his blade mail.
Oh no, he's blocked him in.
Oh, and on the other side of it, Nemphy channels the ulti. They end up losing the clockwork, and now Nemphy will turn to try and finish off the dragon. He will get the kill there, 1 for 1. Now a TP out. Can they interrupt it? BGM? Nope, not going to find the cast point. Echo whiffed.
That was unfortunate.
And now
Charged
Boogie.
by Boogie. No, where are you going, buddy? Come over here.
He's ruptured, so definitely going down. All right, good little skirmish there for the Clovers, a 1 for 2.
They should have let him keep on running until he died. That would have been entertaining.
Yeah, weird little fight there. And
That fissure looked like it was really going to screw the Dragon Knight, but he got healed up quite a bit by the stick charges.
Yeah.
Surprisingly tanky. I think Witch Doctor's heal might have been active before he started the Death Ward, and it helped keep him alive a surprisingly long time. It looked like a disastrous fissure, though, just completely sectioning 4 Clovers away from their own Dragon Knight, but turns out fairly well in the end.
Yeah, a much different game in terms of momentum than what we've seen, days prior, where this is a
Matumba Man bowling on mid.
Oh, okay, goes for Van Score. He's got the Voodoo Restoration on. Charge still coming onto Weehaw. This is going to be a disastrous fight for the Clovers.
Oh, he didn't get him.
Storm has to TP out, but now they want Weehaw. Charge gets canceled as they see reinforcements in the mid.
They're not done yet. Fissure, they have Rupture in 2. Silence is there. Boogie now getting Ruptured, pursued out. Surprisingly squishy. He's going to try for the TP. They have a Grave if required. While that's what's happening, Trixie, he hooked himself in, but it was into the entire enemy team, and Trixie will pay with his life. Even a Depth Ward committed just to make sure that the Finn goes down. Down he shall go.
Trixie hops in there like, I've got a Blade Mail, guys. I'm going to return all this damage. And to be fair, he did return a fair bit of damage, but his HP pool is not that big, and that will be the end of him. The Tier 1 tower falls. Bloodseeker gets the credit for that one, but Matumba Man didn't quite have a big enough mana pool to zip as far in as he wanted to. Okay, so still very back and forth. The point I wanted to make is this is a very even game. It feels like it's just blow for blow. Neither side really pulling ahead. Very even thus far at the 17-minute mark.
I think 4 anchors. Maybe think about a Roshan. They have the mech, the Dazzle heals. They're going to drop down a sentry.
Medallion.
They ping out the bottom tower, so maybe thinking we should get this tower first, then we can look towards the pit. They already have a good ward in the neighborhood. See if it stays up for long. But BKB coming out on 3 heroes. Well, at least 2 fairly soon.
Yep, now completed on the Bloodseeker. He buys a smoke right away, so it seems they want to try to fight off the backside of this.
Surprisingly, we had not going BKB. It's a really good item this game.
Yeah.
It's the Yasha. We'll see if he wants to upgrade it. Uh-oh, Bambo. He's TP'd in bottom all by his load, so pops that BKB, but he's still going to get punished. That's no way to use a 10-second charge. Bambo, please.
Just thinking that. I mean, what's the play there? There's no TP scroll. How you're hoping to get away, even with the BKB on at that point?
If one could be a fly on the wall inside the mind of Bambo,
yeah,
I imagine you might discover some very interesting thoughts.
I mean, that's a huge win for the 4 anchors. 10-second BKB charges are scary, especially on a hero like Bloodseeker. And, of course, 9-second is pretty comparable, but that's, again, a finite resource. You're never getting that back, and to see it thrown away that way is good news for the dire side as the Bloodstone gets completed for Storm. Matumba Man has definitely recovered after that more than rocky start.
I mean, don't sleep on the late game of 4 anchors. I think there's a few heroes that are very hit or miss late game. Like Spirit Breaker comes to mind as someone who can be rather useless or really strong, depending on what kind of charges you can find. Dazzle's always going to be great, and their cores are always going to be strong. At least the farming cores, the Storm and the Shadow Fiend. Clock, again, a bit vulnerable versus BKBs, but can offer you some great zoning potential. So This is not a lineup you can automatically assume you're just going to be able to brute force in the late game, as 4 Clovers smoke and head down mid.
Yeah, Trixie in an interesting spot in the Radiant jungle, but I think just a bit far away. They go right onto Nemphy, straight away with the Rupture. Grave comes out a little bit early. He'll reposition himself, but now the Echo Slam from EGM sets up the call down. Boogie in some trouble. Matumba Man zips out, says, that's a mistake. I'm zipping to the high ground. A fast 2 for nil, and Trixie just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Couldn't hook shot in, couldn't find the angle to initiate, and...
Good catch. Very nice time to have a haste turn up on the Dragon Knight.
Yes, that's a fair point as well. Now it's tier 2 tower in the mid under heavy siege. Lift comes out. I don't think the Anchors can defend this one. They're going to need to let it fall.
They should be able to defend high ground. Shadow Fiend up in 30. You going high ground against the Storm with a Bloodstone is a super risky maneuver. I think more likely we see them look to roll up the tier 2 top. Maybe walk towards Roche.
Dragon Form will expire soon, but they can still siege without it. And
if they go top, I think 4 Anchors may just look towards the Roche, especially given how far they'd have to push the lane. So maybe if you're 4 Clovers, you wait. Just send one person to push out top, the rest of the team ward up near the Roche pit. Then once the top lane's pushing, then you can weigh your options.
Oh, they're just lingering on the high ground here, waiting for somebody to walk too far forward in the mid lane. They see Boogie just use a charge on the creeps there. Not going to find that opening to try and engage. Double damage outside of the Roche pit. That is always a bit scary. Rocket Flare to scout it out, see if there's no one in the pit. Matumba Man will throw that one into the bottle.
Still no run up on Storm, though. This is a game-changing rune if he can find the right opening.
Top tower has been denied.
Sure, we'll get to night top.
Yep. Full victory there for the Clovers. This Gyro, man, he's farming like a madman, and he will go for that BKB. Just wanted the farming tool in the Yasha. Now halfway to the recipe before this Ancient Stack gets finished off. They'll give him the buff there from the Bloodseeker, that Blood Rage, and that'll help his damage output quite a bit.
Well, for those just joining us, I see quite a few of you trickling in. This is an elimination match. Loser goes home.
It's a big deal.
The winner will move on to the final double in playoffs, joining Empire, VP, and Vega in the top 4. So
Vega eliminated MYI earlier this morning, and here we're in the ace match, the decider, and a close one at that. The Anchors are behind by about 4K net worth, 1,500,000 XP or so, but this is still a very close game. One of the closer ones we've seen in this tournament so far is now the Anchors move into the Roche pit.
Oh, they're smoked. They want to fight this one, Andrew, but will they get there in time? It looks like they should. Roche only at about half HP. Trixie's up on the high ground. He'll be the one caught out first, but he could drop the cogs here and potentially just walk away, if not scot-free, then close to it. He does pop the Blade Mail while he continues to run back while Rupture. Bambo is taking heavy damage from this. Did not BKB. Now they grave Trixie. Looks for the TP out. Will be stunned by Waga. They should be able to bring him down. Matumba Man, though, finding the Shaker, engaging and bringing him down with the double damage. And the Requiem comes from the backside. They're focusing Waga. They can bring him down. Nemphy with some heavy damage output. Shaker down. TP out for Matumba. The Rocket will chase him back. A 2-for-1. Very nice. Bloodseeker at half health. BKB is expended. And they don't give up the Roche. Roche at about 2/3, 3/4.
Oh, so if they don't go back and finish off Roche, then a decent trade for 4CL. A 2-for-1, but stopping Roche is not too shabby.
They also committed a smoke for that, though.
Yes, that's true. A couple interesting things to note. The amazing positioning of Trixie getting revealed on right away and keeping his team kind of safe and turning that fight into this weird spread out. I'm like moving across. Okay, Matumba Man's over here. The Shadow Fiend's back here. It was this very spread out fight, and that did not favor 4CL. They want everybody clumped up in this little tiny spot where that Gyro can just flat cannon, call down, do all that AoE damage so the Death Ward can spread across heroes, and that just didn't happen. Also, these wards from 4ASC, it's almost amazing that they smoked in a spot that wasn't revealed. They've got a ward up here as well. They smoked just out of range of it. So almost disastrous for 4CL on that front.
They're going to contest again, maybe. Can Bambo get off a good silence here? No, the char. Oh, he actually doesn't hit him. He backs off at the last second.
Okay, Cask doesn't bounce. Roche still reasonably healthy. All of 4CL rotating over.
Oh, did the Cask actually interrupt it? Maybe it did.
It might have. It looked like he canceled. It was close. He might have just canceled it. But 4ASC, if they back out here, then the Clovers will just take the Roche pit. We see Weehaw moving in. Matumba Man on the high ground. We'll take a look at Dire Vision. All that flying vision from the Storm, giving them a lot of intel. Hookshot cross. Whiff from Trixie. It connects on Nemphy. Not what they were hoping for. Now inside of the pit, though, Weehaw pops his BKB, but he's very low. Oh my, it's killed by the Dire, and they get the Aegis. Now a disastrous fight potentially for the Radiant side. If Weehaw lives, that's huge, but no. Nether Strike slows him down, but doesn't do the damage to the BKB. They still manage to finish him off. Matumba Man low, but still holding on to the Aegis. They'll get yet another kill here, and probably EGM as well. Line him up and knock him down as the 4 anchors get some serious momentum and hold the Aegis. They find Waga on the high ground. Nothing the Dragon Knight can do. He's isolated. He's going to be brought down, and
Ouch.
he is dead.
Oh, God, that hurt.
Woo, all 5
Storm
down.
saves the Aegis. They get the Roche kill. He gets 6 Bloodstone charges over the past couple minutes. He's now up to 14 Bloodstone charges.
Oh my.
A 3,500 gold swing. A 4,500 experience swing. It's a team wipe as well. And now they're even going to push down the mid lane. I don't think anything else could have gone wrong. That's actually the worst possible outcome short of a wasted buyback on the Witch Doctor. That would have been the only other thing I can even possibly imagine going worse.
Yeah, I think
Those cogs just it wasn't the best hook, but then gets the DK out of the fight, and Storm managing to grab the Aegis and mess up the gyro just ruins their day.
Yeah, exactly right. And I can't help but feel like Weehaw was in just a little bit too deep. He kind of face checked the pit, say, okay, there's nobody in here, and then he just sort of hung around. And the whole fight, he's just stuck in this area and couldn't really get that right angle to spray all the flat cannon and reset so that he could do some damage towards the end. He was, he lived a little longer than expected, but that Nether Strike certainly came in handy. Great stuff from the 4 anchors. Now with this gold graph, they take the lead for really the first time this game and take a big experience lead as well.
Big fight. And they have now a very fat Storm. Orchid will be coming next. He's got all but the second Oblivion Staff, and with an Aegis and those Bloodstone charges, he can play very aggressive. Witch Doctor, pretty easy solo kill. Shaker, also an even easier solo kill. The cores are all either have BKBs or getting close to them. So I don't think they're really that killable, but there's not many heroes to gank him. Dragon Knight I thought might go for a Shadow Blade, but Waga just got shut down so hard that he went for the more defensive BKB build, and it means they don't have a great initiator on the Storm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We talked about, well, is it really worth it to put this much pressure on the Dragon Knight? But it seems the answer is a resounding yes. Waga 0, 6, and 7 in terms of KDA this game. Smoke gets revealed as Matumba Man goes zipping in, goes, whoa, that's more than I thought was there. BKB popped by Sexy Bambo on the front line, trying to go blow for blow with Nemphy as they rotate around the tower. Nemphy will get graved up, turns the man fight as Trixie drops Cogs to break up the fight once more. Boogie in just a little bit too deep, will be the second casualty of this fight after the Dragon Knight. The tower falls, and now the anchors will just make their retreat. Happy with a 1-for-1, but the cask bouncing all around here. The Blood Right connects on 2. Nemphy falls. Volix, he should be going down here as well. Bambo, whoa, 8 HP, rolls the dice, but just barely lives as Weehaw secures a triple, and now the momentum swings back the other way. Storm still with the Aegis, soon to expire in 2 minutes.
All right, that's about a 2,500 gold swing the other direction. They don't get Storm, and Storm is now up to 15 Bloodstone charges, but he doesn't have a BKB yet. So if he does get out of position once the Aegis is gone, pretty killable. We'll see.
Important to note also that Storm did not have the Orchid in that fight. He got it completed when he TP'd back home to regen, but didn't have that extra silence utility for that one to start.
It was kind of an awkward fight. So, I mean, it looks like we have a moment here. Shadow Fiend, well, so the fight starts when Storm balls in. I think it was like from the north, goes around here, then immediately jumps back out. He blows most of his mana pool just to get off a pull. Then, following this up, the Shadow Fiend BKBs and Requiems because he's getting chased out pretty hard as there's a little action bomb.
Bambo and Matumba Man going at it. Rupture comes out.
Not sure what the plan is there. And now he might actually die.
BKB expired. There's another strike available. I think he's dead here. They don't even need the Nether Strike.
It's pretty questionable. I don't know how you're killing Storm anyway. He's got Aegis, he's got a minute on it. Maybe it was if he had just ruptured and like run away or something, that would be one thing.
That's basically what he did, except he popped his BKB also. But
Bambo's had some Bambo moments this game. I feel like there's just no other way to put it.
The weird thing with that initiation with Storm is that there were a lot of heroes smoked up, which he had no idea about. So he zips in, he's like, oh, this is an easy target. It's worth my mana pool. And he goes, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. And he just books it the other way.
And then, so after Shadow Fiend BKB Requiem, the clock hooks in, gets a good cogs. And then the Spirit Breaker just like gallops past them like, I'm going for the base, boys! Time check to the tier 3s, and they got a little overextended and just weren't really focusing very well, and I think that's why it turns out reasonably well for 4 Clovers, but...
I think it would have been better if the Bloodseeker was not positioned so aggressively, but the real bottleneck was Nymphy. Everyone else was on the low ground here. Nymphy stuck back here just like, guys, please, this Bloodseeker, he hurts very bad. And then he got great. Then he started fighting, but he was already so isolated that the fight kind of fell apart from there, so... Interesting stuff. 19 to 20, looking at the graph, we're still pretty leveled out. The Anchors holding on to an edge, but nothing too crazy as both teams continue to stay pretty even with one another. Van score 1,500 gold from his Aghanim, still pretty far off that. Halfway to the recipe for Waga's Dragon Knight to get his BKB. And now Bambo, look at this change of pace. He's going for the Yule Scepter, feeling like he needs a reset tool when he gets isolated.
Yeah.
Very good against the Orchid, at least.
It is good. It's good against Spirit Breaker as well to interrupt the charge. At some point, though, he will get a BKB, and then...
That point's coming pretty soon. Ogre Club with 2k gold. He's not far off.
Yeah, about 1,000 to go, so... It's more of a defensive item here. It's going to mean the Gyrocopter has to be the big damage dealer. DK's not farming well enough to do it. Weehaw has itemized more as a carry gyro. He did stop off for a Manta. It helps you versus the Orchid, but... In general, Manta's not a great item on Gyro. Your illusions don't get flat cannon, and I mean, it's really the hero's main damage spell. Generally, you just want a big damage item, or at least a survivability item, like a Butterfly or Titanic. You already have BKB to deal with Orchid. I guess it gives you a second solution, but not really sure. There's nothing to Manta dodge here, really, either. Like, you're not Manta dodging Avenge or Sven stun this game. As they jump on mid, they find Bambo, and just as soon as you blink, he's dead. 17 Bloodstone charges. Matama Man is really getting out of control at this point.
Yeah, on net worth, it's still Shadow Fiend topping the charts, but there's just no answer for the mobility of this Storm. And as you've talked about a few times, with this level of Bloodstone charges, let's just look at his mana regen. There's no stopping him. He could just continually farm, rice around, pick people off, use that ball lightning very aggressively and not have to worry too much about it. Shadow Fiend, I was just wondering what item he'd go next, and that's full Butterfly now completed.
Oh god, that's a big item, because the only big damage 4 Clovers have later on is either an amazing like Death Ward Echo Calldown type play, which is going to be very tricky, and there's always a grave, or it's right clicks from Gyro, / maybe in 20 minutes the Dragon Knight Bloodseeker. Butterfly is really effective against their main damage dealer, which is going to be the Gyro's auto attacks moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, Weehaw will certainly want to grab an MKB, but he's just so far away now that he's invested in this Manta style, and there's a big window here where Nymphy will be not only doing a lot of damage, but also mitigating a lot of damage with that 35% evasion. All right. 4 Anchors, they're invading the enemy territory here. They're just clearing out the Radiant jungle, looking for an opening to initiate. We'll take a look at Dire Vision right now, and they do have some aggressive wards down. Lane ward in the mid, one outside of the Ancients here with some overlapping vision, and they're forcing the Clovers to really stay as a tight unit. I feel like the Radiant side is playing this right to not allow them to find more pickoffs, but it comes at a cost. They just can't farm that effectively. They're sharing experience. They need to make something happen pretty soon. Maybe this BKB on Waga is enough for them to start getting aggressive and take some successful fights. We'll see.
The map control is theirs. I think that's the biggest thing here is, regardless of farm and any gold advantage, they have the better gankers right now. The Spirit Breaker, Clock, and the Storm. Anyone who's on their own can get jumped and killed. They have more mobility. They have good vision and map control from the charge, the wards. Oh, Waga just randomly BKBing. Just got his 10-second BKB and blows it off the bat. What else can go wrong for 4 Clovers here? But
seriously, that
really hurts. That's a big BKB charge, and it also just goes on cooldown for a long time.
Yep, that is... Wow, I'm really surprised. That must have just been a misclick. There's nothing coming his way. Okay, things looking good for the Anchors.
But yeah, basically I just feel like because they have the better gankers and the better vision and map control, they can just outfarm them.
Yep. Oh yeah, and that's the way to do it on this patch. It's less about taking those risks to force the issue towards the high ground and taking that map and just starving it out, so limiting where the opposition can farm. And I do think 4 Anchors, though, should try to utilize this window of opportunity with the Butterfly before there's really much chance for Weehaw to get progress towards the MKB. They still have a little while to do so, but this is an important timing window that they want to hit. Roche will be up in just a couple of seconds here, actually, so if that's what they're waiting for, they may find a stroke of luck.
Oh god. BKB, Spirit Breaker, and
Go.
There's no interruption for this. The only interrupt is rupturing him, and he dies before he gets in range from the rupture damage, but very unlikely to happen. Unless Bloodseeker's like sitting here and Spiritbreaker just charges all the way down mid.
Yeah, that's true. And now the smoke rotation from the 4 anchors. They'll make a movement towards the Roche pit. Get scattered out by this dominated range creep on the radiant side.
This is a big fight. Who's going to get the jump?
Oh, they find Vanscore charged straight in, but the Blood Right comes out right away. Vanscore will be the first casualty of this fight. BKB's piled on both sides. It's Waga on the back foot. Boogie still trying to bully them back.
He still has another strike, but they've used up all their BKBs. I don't know if they
as
can
well.
go anymore.
Oh, now they go into Matumba Man, but they just don't have the damage.
That
Boogie
charge.
comes in to break things up. The call down gets laid, but it just doesn't do anything. Requiem on the backside just tickles a little bit, but now 4CL is all split up. Waga on one side. They're trying to chase down
Bambo's
Matumba.
YOLOing down mid onto Matumba, man. He's going to have to turn and fight him. The pole comes through. The rocket dinks him, and he might actually die before he gets Bloodstone tonight. He will. 1,000 gold for YOLO Bambo. Oh, what a pickoff.
Wow. Meanwhile, on the other side of it, though, this fight is still going on. Nemphy and Trixie playing a little back and forth tug of war here with Wagamama. And this awkward fight ends up being a 1-for-1. Storm instantly responds just about with that Bloodstone.
I don't think he saw the homing
Radiant's
missile,
top
or
tower
he
is
probably
under
didn't have his
attack.
camera where it was. Because if he did, he would have just Bloodstone denied there. Instead, he gives Bambo a gigantic bounty. But as you said, 1-for-1 in the end, and not the worst thing in the world, considering he still has 12 Bloodstone charges, and they may be able to take Roche after that.
And we'll see if 4CL come in to contest this. Trixie
They have
again
no
with good
Dragon
positioning.
form. This is going to be tough without it. BKBs aplenty are on cooldown. Roche drops low. Here we go.
All right, Roche getting into that dangerous territory. Waga, he's just going to walk right into the pit. BKB already used by Weehaw. It gets killed by the Radiant, but picked up by the Dire. Shadow Fiend will grab it this time. It will cost Waga his life to grab that last hit on Roche. And now Bambo trying to go in onto Volok's grave.
He's got
Looks like it's out
900
onto
move
Boogie.
speed.
Oh my god. This guy's too fast. Death Ward on the high ground, but there's just nobody nearby for it to do any damage to. Now on the other side of it, they get the kill onto Trixie, but Matumba Man reinitiates. Orchid onto the Earthshaker, doesn't have the damage. Now has to retreat. Nemphy looking to reinitiate here. He still has the Aegis and a mech. He'll pop the mech. Really wants to bring down Vanscore, but the magic damage taking him low. Out comes the Grave. Bambo, the Speed Demon, comes right back in. Finishes off the Dazzle. Nemphy tries to channel the Requiem, but just can't. The Aegis will be utilized. An awkward, messy fight from 4ASC. They're just being pulled in too many different ways. Vanscore dies to the last raise.
Oh, no, in the river though, Matumba Man, a bit of trouble here. He's going to zip into the rocket. There you go. And now they look to go back on mid. Perhaps Requiem coming out. Does it actually debuff anyone? Barely hits Weehaw, but they will retreat in the end. So Bambo topped out that fight at 1,014 move speed.
Jesus.
I actually almost think it's a disadvantage to be that fast, because if you misclick, you run so quickly that you just end up like in the middle of the enemy team and die. He was literally, while the real fight was going on, just patrolling back and forth here, like doing laps.
Yeah.
Frantically looking for that opening to move.
There came a point in that fight where I just forget about the Bloodseeker. I can't follow what he's doing. Focus on everyone else because he's just too damn
It
fast.
reminded me, I know you like True Blood, it reminded me of the vampires when they run around that show. They're just like,
That's exactly what it looked like. I mean, he just goes from I'm normal to zip, 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 zip. So, who actually won that fight? If we look at the graphs, it was 4CL that came out ahead. Remember, they got the last hit on Roche. They got the golden experience
they
from
got
that.
rid of the Aegis as well.
They finish off the Aegis. Trixie will have an Aghanims and just a couple hundred gold, so he's still getting some item progression, but again, like last fight around the Roche pit, it seemed like that it being spread out like that really benefited 4ASC, where the Gyro just couldn't do his damage. For that go around, it was the complete opposite. The Storm, it felt like he was just pulled in too many directions. He would isolate one, then he'd have to go on somebody else, then somebody else, and then, oh, now I'm hit by a rocket. He just couldn't focus long enough to find these kills.
The way that, with a lot of the BKBs being on cooldown as well at some points in that fight, it felt like it just they weren't focusing that well. Like, you have Storm, Spearbreaker, Clock. You should be able to just blow somebody up, but they haven't been able to find like a clean initiation in some of these recent engagements, and it is definitely hurting them.
That was also a very bold play from Waga to just charge into the pit, knowing he didn't have Dragon form, and say, I'm going for Roche. He gets the last hit. It cost him his life, but it's a worthy trade, I think, to start the fight off that way, and well played to actually go in and get the last hit there. That's a lot easier said than done. But now smoke from 4ASC.
Oh, this is going to be a big fight, Andrew. They're in position. They ball in with the Stormy Shivas. 5 heroes. The hook shot connects, pushing while isolating Bank scores. The Requiem goes out. Massive combinations coming out here from 4 anchors, but they haven't finished anyone off. 4 Clovers were able to get up their BKBs, and now Bambo starts to ramp up. He's got a lot of move speed. They're not focusing him down at all. Storm out of the fight off the bat. Clock next to fall, and Bogey will be run down, smacked to bits, and chopped up by Bambo. 3 for 1.
What happened there? It looked like such a great initiation
Everybody
for the 4
got
anchors.
off their BKBs. They did not manage to kill anyone. Bambo BKB'd, Waga BKB'd, Weeha BKB'd. They got the call down in flat cannon, 3-4 heroes. They're just not getting quick picks. And I think it's getting to that point where they need a Hex on Matumba Man.
Yeah.
Some sort of reliable lockdown to prevent these BKBs from going off.
Now Matumba Man comes in, he jumps right onto Waga. The Blood Right comes out, but
Poor
it's not
Waga.
enough. Waga just gets dropped.
Poor guy. He's had a rough game.
He really has. 0-9 at 40 minutes. He is just
I don't
had
even
the target on his back.
There were a few misplays by Waga, the wasted BKB, a couple times where you could argue he was just out of position, but
They've really been
it's
picking
just
on him.
4 anchors have been jerks.
Yeah.
They're just constantly picking on poor Waga Mama.
Yeah, respecting the Dragon Knight a bit. I feel like in these team fights, you can just feel when the fight's about halfway done, and the Bloodseeker, use the term, he's starting to ramp up exactly right. And as he gets that more power, the fight just turns away from 4ASC. But speak of the devil, Bambo gets jumped on. Matumba Man
He's got
using
a
that big
BKB
mana
here,
pool.
not using it just yet.
Okay, he will use the BKB now.
What a bait by Bambo!
Oh no, now Matumba Man in some trouble. He's out of mana. Boogie comes charging in, goes in onto Bambo, will have another strike, says, actually, I changed my mind.
Didn't
I want to
BKB?
get the hell out of here. Now he pops the BKB. His team is already trying to get out of there. That was...
What a circus. so many clowny heroes just running around. Like, everybody's so mobile, right? You've got the Bloodseeker, and then 3 heroes that are mobile and 4 anchors. Now Shadowblade coming out on Bambo, because clearly he needs more move speed.
Yep.
I
I think he wants the Silver Edge to deal with this butterfly. That's the big thing here.
does it work?
Doesn't Break
No,
get rid of
it's-
the passive evasion? Just,
only
am I confusing
for
my mechanics?
Only for the abilities. Right?
Only if it's an ability. Oh, right. Okay.
So, like, PA evasion it was.
Yes, okay. Yeah, that's right. So how is MKB the
MKB
only
is
way...
the only counter for
the
item-based evasion.
Only thing to counter Butterfly.
I believe,
okay.
yeah. Well,
I'm
Doom, I
misremembering.
guess, upgraded.
Okay, yeah,
Ag
well, that's...
Doom.
Yeah, Doom's a weird
And
one, but...
Disruptor. Actually, I don't know if Disruptors works on passives. I'm not sure, but
Now we're getting into the
I know that Doom
nitty-gritty
does.
here.
I
Yeah.
forget. I haven't seen much to Eggs Disruptor lately, but
Yeah.
Nemphy, he's the man who may get caught.
Yeah.
It does not. We're hearing from
It does
our
not.
producer.
Okay, yeah, I'm misremembering. I don't know why I had that backwards.
Schooling us.
The MKB is just about out for Gyrocopter, so either way, it's kind of a moot point here. He does have the gold for it, maybe pulling for buyback, but that's an item that I feel like could change the state of these team fights a lot.
They want to make a go here, but Bambo's a little bit far away. They get down an observer where everybody in 4 anchors is like, get the hell back, hide in the trees.
So
Heed your
why is
lessons
he?
from HYHY.
Why did the Bloodseeker go for a Shadow Blade here? That was the. I guess I got on that track because I was thinking, oh yeah, he's going for the break, but
It
no,
can
that's
allow
not the
you
case.
to set up solo kills. There is a gem on Matumba Man though.
It seems like an odd pickup here, 40 minutes in. I mean, I would almost rather just see him pull up that gold for like an MKB so he can
I
man
believe
fight.
it will remove the presence of the Dark Lord, but that's not really an amazing ability to remove.
Yeah, yes.
Also, BKBs will deal with the Silver Edge, so you've got BKBs on
Right.
2 of the cores.
I guess it removes the greater bash from Spirit Breaker. That's pretty big when he's not BKB'd.
And empowering.
And the
Haze.
empowering
But, I mean, normally Spirit Breaker's the one initiating. Like,
Yeah.
in order to run up and Silver Edge hit the Spirit Breaker,
That seems like a weird reason to buy that item so that he can't
charging, or
bash.
he's just going to bash you, right? So it's a very difficult play to pull off.
Yeah, I'm just sort of theory crafting it
I
out
guess
here.
maybe I don't even know if it removes Overload. I haven't, but either way, it's not that big.
I need to
It does.
study up that chart of all the things that it breaks.
I think
and
it does, but
Yeah.
there's a few things like
Breaks Overload.
Dispersion. I believe it does not.
There are some exceptions. I have not studied the list to the amount of detail that I need to. It's on my calendar to do before TI, but have not
And then,
gotten
of
there
course,
yet.
who knows how many bugs there are with the item, if there are any remaining, or how many are intended to not work against it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The gem on the Storm is the big one, though, and the momentum is shifting. 9 charges on the Storm, down from the 17, 18 where it was a while ago in this game, and the graph's now getting closer to that zeroed out mark as things square up just a bit more. MKB is in the inventory of the Gyrocopter. The enemies, the Dire here in the enemy jungle. Clovers in a defensive position, but good look to catch somebody here.
Oh, you know what? I think they changed the Ag's Doom as well, so it only breaks. I don't... Or maybe that's just the... Maybe that's the non-upgraded one.
Yeah, that's the not upgraded one is shitty.
All right, here we go.
Storm, put the
Tumble Man
Yules.
gets put out. He doesn't have a BKB, but
It actually does hit him here. He doesn't get to zip out, so he does get silenced and ruptured.
Graved and should be able to ball out if they don't completely change them. Longer range zip. Get me the hell home.
Okay.
It'll TP out the rest of the way.
And Volix TP's home as well in the tree line. So no kills coming out. Nice setup there on the Storm, but he does live.
Well,
Okay.
they don't really get anything out of it for 4 Clover. He'll get dunked back in the well and probably rage a little bit. He has lost some Bloodstone charges, though, now. Where Matumba Man once had 17, he's now down to only 9.
Yeah.
And they become more important as the game goes along, because this is the stage of the game where your respawn time starts to get pretty long. So it's where you really need the, 15 plus, even if you're lucky, 20 plus Bloodstone charges. But
Yeah, man, Nymphy is still farming like a madman, though. We're talking about this butterfly. He now has a full Daedalus completed, so his damage output is definitely on point here. Did I just see a Drum of Endurance completed by Waga? What the shit is that? 45 minutes in, he buys a drum?
I guess he figures I just want something, but...
Uh-oh.
Mid lane.
Yeah, Weehaw gets his BKB off. He'll turn and try to fight here, but the charge has already come through. Manta.
Oh, he dodged the charge with the Manta. What a play by Weehaw, but still they pursue him. Matumba Man getting hit by a cast. He'll be finished off in the end by Matumba Man now. A Requiem in the midst of the fight. The Death Lord going, though, to try and counter this. Brings down one. Nymphy Grave for now charging forward onto Waga, who's going to work. Drum charge is cooling down soon, man. You better watch out. Bambo almost finished off Matumba. Steps in. There's the Yules dodging that last killing auto attack. The Remnant gets him on the way out. Where are you going, buddy? It's a 2 for 3, and we're not done just yet. Bankscore being run down by Trixie, grabs the gem, won't live to bring it back to base. Now Matumba, if this slow hit, should be able to just get
clips
Waga.
him. Oh no, Waga's
team wipe.
definitely going down. It's a 2 for 5, triple kill for Matumba Man. The 4 anchors regaining all of that lost footing. All of a sudden, 13 Bloodstone charges on the Storm, and Roche, he's up and standing. They're gonna head for it. That's Aegis and Cheese that will go the way of the Dire. Wow, what a back and forth game this has been. You look at the graph and it's just all over the place.
They got so much damage onto the Gyro before he BKB'd, and he doesn't have a Satanic yet.
Yep.
If he has a Satanic there, I think that's a completely different fight, but... Well, he hasn't managed to farm it up yet. A big fight, and now a BKB comes out from Matumba Man. He's gotten 4 more Bloodstone charges. They won't try to take the Roche, though. Without their Shadow Fiend, not so easy to
Waga
do it.
used 2 of his drum charges that fight, so at least he's putting it to good use.
It's better than Black.
The classic, oh shit, I hope my team doesn't notice quick, I better use one. Oh my. Well, this is a big item for the Clovers. Yeah, me too. Sad does not seem at this 3. Aghanim Scepter on the Witch Doctor. This is a big upgrade. And
Did he
we'll
have
give
it? I don't even know if he had it in the
No,
last fight,
he
to be
just completed it.
Okay.
So that is something that could tip the scales in the next fight. Much needed damage output. And that Singleton Death Ward did huge damage that last fight. That was the reason the Shadow Fiend even died. So got 2 kills out of it, yep. And now the Silver Edge is up on the Bloodseeker.
I mean, it's like, I guess it's sort of like a mini MKB, because that first attack doesn't miss. The Shadow, the Silver Edge, like,
Oh, that's
first
true.
proc, but I mean, if you really want that, you just get an MKB, so.
Yeah, and a Silver Edge is not... The completed item is not that different from an MKB in terms of
It does
cost.
have the damage reduction as well, I guess that's
Yeah. I guess
Another-
that is an overlooked part of this item for sure. 40% damage reduction for 5 seconds is pretty
The
big.
issue I have with the item is, like, later on in a lot of games, it's very hard to get it off sometimes. Like, finding a good opening to just run in, auto attack, especially as a melee hero, can be a little tricky, but if you get it off, it can be pretty big.
Mm-hmm. So Roche still standing, neither team committing to it. Storm, he's ready though. He's got these remnants up in case someone walks in. He's ready to catch him off guard here. This next Roche, I think, will become a focal point of this game with Aegis and Cheese, especially when you've got a Storm Spirit on one team. I mean,
I really think both teams need to think about a Hex at this point in the game.
Yeah.
They need a Hex versus the Storm if possible. BKBs are all very low at this point. I think almost everyone, aside from Storm, is at a 5-second BKB or close to it. And I'm clicking around. I don't see any that are not 5 seconds.
Yeah, they should. I think
So
they should
Hex
all
gets
be.
really strong at this stage of the game. And could be a real fight changer. If you get that first kill, the fight's probably going to snowball. Oh, we have seen a hook by Trixie, finds Vankscore, but thinks better of it and will back away.
Okay.
Also worth mentioning, 4 Clovers did lose their gem after the last fight. Witch Doctor tried to walk away with his bounty, but he was quickly dealt with by Trixie.
So was that the gem that Matumba Man had?
I think it was the dire gem.
And then they took
got
it back, and then Trixie recovered it again. So it's that same gem that's just been tossed
it says
around.
It's EGM.
Oh, so EGM bought it. So it's been trading hands quite a bit. Is there one back at the base? Oh, there's one back at the base too.
Yeah, so they have a second gem.
All right. So they had theirs and then grabbed another. It's good for the anchors for sure. And Matumba Man's just like hanging out in the Roche pit. He's been over here for the better part of a minute now. Just, hey, anybody in? Are we game here? Looking for the opening. This team's like...
This is that stage of the game where everyone gets a little bit nervous looking at buybacks. We don't have many, only 3.
And he kills the Radiant Scout. There was a Alpha Wolf that ventured its way over and just got taken out.
They're going to fight this, though. It looks like... or are they? They're close enough that they're thinking about it, but they're also not running in. And
I think the Anchors are trying to bait them here. It looks like they are really trying to do...
It's a double damage Shadow Fiend, but he's not going to go for it.
It's not like they're just dipping their toe in enough
There's
so they can still jump out. Oh, here we go, right onto Weehaw. He BKBs straight away.
What a fissure. Then the cast bounces through. They hook it anyway. But the Gyro BKB is down. He's been glimmered back. They're going to sacrifice Vanscore. And with that, Roche should be there. There's no buyback on an Aghanim's upgraded Witch Doctor. I think the way to Roche just lies completely open now.
Yeah, that is a huge part of their damage output. Trixie,
they actually
throwing a blind hook shot.
Oh, it was a blind one.
No, it was down that way.
Yeah, their ward's on the other side of the trees. And now Bambo's just chilling.
All right, they go right into the Roche pit now. Plenty of minus armor to make this nice and easy. Aegis and Shees, what's the ideal spread here? I think you give Matumba Man the Aegis and Shees to the Shadow Fiend, but I guess either or, it doesn't really matter.
I think Aegis on Storm is probably better.
Yeah, Matumba Man will be going in first. Yep, that's the way they'll do it, so... Okay.
Make Shadow Fiend very tough to kill as well. Remember, they also have the Grave, which is quite a potent ability at this stage. But mid lane, a charge onto Waga. Boogie going deep. Did not BKB through this. He's going to take a lot of extra damage from the bashes now. The BKB comes out. Storm has a pretty full mana pool. The hook's there. Isolates Waga. Now the jump forward from Matumba Man. Weehaw does get off his BKB. Then TP's out immediately. Everybody retreating here. Sexy Bambo just watching his teammates melt, but
what a play from Trixie there. He puts that dragon in a cage. He literally just force taps to the high ground, and the entire time that dragon is just like, I can't do anything. He was completely isolated inside the cogs. After the fight settles down, they just finish off the Dragonite. Very nice setup.
It really feels like Trixie is just so crucial to this team's performance, more so than almost any player on any other team, really. He's the one who always seems to make the plays in tight games when they really need them to come out on top. Nemphy will get smacked here. And forced back a little bit, but he still cheese. He's still got 4.2k. They find one more pick. That should be enough to crack this base.
Yeah,
they're trying to be patient.
There is a glyph here for the 4 Clovers, so they can reset things a little bit. 2 siege creeps just going to town on this tier 3 tower.
Gone in. Oh, Matumba Man.
Shiva.
I think ideally he just wants to bait out a BKB or 2 here. Sure, they're 5 seconds, but if you get them down, that could be enough.
Bambo now goes in. He'll use his BKB, as will Nemphy. Now the charge in, going deep onto Weehaw. That'll force out his. Vanscore's here. He starts to channel the ultimate, but it gets interrupted almost right away. Grave out on Nemphy, but he'll just eat the cheese. Now buyback's coming. Bambo will have to use his first one.
They've used pretty much everything. Shadow Fiend's isolated. He gets caught with the Echo. Bambo rushes forward. He's got no Rupture available. Already popped it. Has the Yule soon. Matumba Man could Bloodstone Suicide if this gets really dicey. Has the Aegis for now. The Blood Raid's going to connect, but he has the BKB and, well, not popping it just yet. Now he BKBs. He walks past a Haste Rune. This might be enough to run him down. He may actually die at least once here, if not a second time. Not sure if they can change stun him. They ball forward. Matumba Man still retreating. Backups there. The hook shot from Trixie. They turn on Bambo. Trying to punish him. Matumba Man's in deep. Can they chain stun him? This has to be perfect. Enchant Totem. Will it be timed just right? They silence him. They clobber him. Bloodstone denied. No. Gets nothing. Dies again. They've lost both cores. Both have buyback, and they are going to have to use it, Andrew.
They absolutely will. Now, Radiant Side burned 1 buyback to make this fight happen. Waga just respawned right towards the tail end. He didn't use his Elder Dragon form, so now he has this available for sieging the high ground. Waga dying first in that last fight is actually going to work out pretty well for this Radiant Side, as he now can siege this tower pretty easily. They won't even force the buybacks, though. Wow, I'm surprised to see the Clovers play this one
Storm does
so
respawn
passive.
very quickly. Shadow Fiend not so much, but I think 4 Clovers look at this and they're like, we really want to force buybacks, but it's super risky to overextend because you cannot run from Spirit Breaker, Clockwork Storm. You're just not escaping from these heroes. At least you're losing a couple, so they decide to play it safe. There is a charge on Bambo, though. might get caught here if they have a plus. Oh, they hooked him while he's in Viz. Very nice vision given there by the charge. Beautiful connection by Trixie.
And that's essentially a dieback now. He's out of this game for
110 seconds. I
over
think they go
a
down
minute.
mid.
I think they well should. I mean, it's going to take a little while to push these creeps in, but this is a big window of opportunity, and they know he bought back.
Bambo he's gotten picked off a lot at what seem like crucial moments this game.
Yeah.
As soon as Spirit Breaker respawns, you have to be off the map or with your team. If you're alone at this stage of the game, you're very vulnerable to getting picked off.
Yep. And as we saw there, it's less about the Spirit Breaker charging and bashing you and more just about the vision.
Still, I mean, give Trixie credit. Sure, he has vision from the charge, but just magnificent hook and a fast-moving target after magnificent hook.
Yep.
He's done a lot. You know, it's actually reminding me of that amazing game Jonas had for an NIP.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what tournament it was in. But
I know what you're talking about, but
he
I
had
forget
like
as well.
multiple hooks and cogs like at the Radiant Fountain, basically, that like won them the game. Like 5 or 6 clutch hooks in a row.
Yeah.
Was a lot more farmed than what Trixie is this game.
Uh-oh.
No, not now.
Come on, guys. This game 3 is going so well. We're about at that climactic point. Oh, servers, please have mercy. Man, I have that KDA chart open, and I just look at Waga at the bottom and just feel a little bit sad for the guy. 1-11, and as we talked about earlier, it's not
His
that
net
he's
worth
been
he's bottom 4 net worth.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is really brutal.
It's not like he's been playing particularly poorly, constantly too far forward. He's just been the target with the target with a target on his back. I mean, it's the anchors have been giving him a lot of pressure. So
it is
looks like-
starting to really tip in favor of 4 anchors. They will be they will be blood seekerless for this fight. But they have the Aghanim's Death Ward. They have the level 15 Shaker with the Glimmer Cape. They have massive AoE here. Finally, Satanic Complete on the Gyro. If they get their combo, they can hold. But if they whiff on the big ultimates, if the BKBs are wasted, if 4 anchors bait those out with a good fake Storm Zip, it's not going to be a fight they can win. They need to hit the combo.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe smoke up the Shaker. Do they have any smokes left right now? They have one. I think smoking him is absolutely worth it if you can get a good initiation here. We'll see if EGM wants to go for it. A lot of this game resting on his shoulders right now. Let's see if he's been working out.
All right. So they won't go mid. Instead, they'll just head for the bottom. Okay.
That doesn't really sound like a game-breaking amount of lag. But
There are some Australians watching right now that look at that number and go,
oh,
"Oh,
you
for,
bitching about.
oh, for fuck's sake!" That's one of those times you just say I'm lagging and you don't put a number on it. I think, but to each his own. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you announced that number because it's not a very impressive amount of lag, but at least he's honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe he's lying and it's worse, and he's trying to,
Throw a wrench into the mix, just make him think that he's not lagging, but really he
trying
is.
to be a wild card, He's trying to be a weird dude. Not really sure.
I was like, what is happening in this game? Maybe there's some issues here routing to Finland.
4 heroes out.
Nymphy versus
Are they
4.
landing? I guess Finland's a pretty small country, huh? You can probably get around to boot camp fairly easily.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of small. Big relative to European countries, but overall.
How long is it
pretty
like
small.
end to end as far as the populated areas though? Because much of Finland is just not really populated.
Fair
at all.
point. Yeah, I don't know.
Does everyone live in Helsinki? I'm not very well informed.
We were just looking up global populations the other day, and Finland did not come up, believe it or not.
Finland
I'm going to guess they've got
population
like 10 million people.
Okay, I've got the population map here.
Rob's laughing because it's probably way less.
There's so they have, it's color-coded.
Yeah.
The color that's the most densely populated, they've got
Helsinki and Tampere.
Helsinki, Tampere, and Vasa and Turku. That's it.
What's the overall number? Is my 10 million close? Is this?
It's more densely populated than Australia, though.
more
that's for
densely populated. Okay, well,
yeah.
that's
It's a dense little ball of people.
5.4 million total. Okay, well, I was within an order of magnitude. That's not bad.
I was within an order of meg.
That's not too shabby.
I love just when you go to Google Maps and it gives you something totally random. It's giving me the Mala Strict Nature Reserve. I'm not sure why, and it's strictly north.
Old Finland.
Jesus, that is far north.
Good old Scandinavia. Yeah, the northern parts of Scandinavia are not so populous. It just gets so blistering cold, man. Why would you want to set up camp there? If it gets -50 in either Celsius or Fahrenheit, I think it's a spot where you just want to keep on moving, you know?
I saw a really interesting map, which was European cities transposed on North America based on their latitude. We're pausing now. We'll have to talk about this later.
Okay, all right. So this is actually a big moment here. Bloodseeker dead for a minute. No buyback available. It's still on cooldown. They'll siege the high ground. There is a glyph.
They got a good ward down, though. Here we go.
Shiva's on 3. BKB, Matumba Man goes cruising on in. Glimmercape buys EGM some space. BKB used defensively from Weehaz. He gets pushed back towards the well, but Boogie, he's not scared. He goes in. Death Ward used by Vanscore. Does some okay damage, but nothing locking them in place. Boogie trapped by a fissure. He will go down here, and that makes it a 4v4. Now the Echo Slam from EGM brings Nemphy low, but Matumba Man ready to reinitiate.
There's the hook.
Trixie with the blade mail on. He's taking a lot of damage, returning some, but it's just not enough. It's 4ASC that are on the back foot now. Earthshaker ends up falling as Matumba Man goes back in, but he's out of mana. He's stunned up. He'll get brought down by the suicide.
They graved, and then he immediately suicides. Not working at cross purposes here. They're going to lose another. Balance won a point. It's 4 down. They dove them to the well, and they pay the ultimate price.
Radiant don't even have to glyph to make that happen. That's just straight overcommitment.
I thought they were just going to ball in, bait out the BKBs, and then back and slow siege. But they just went for it, dude, and they paid.
That was, yeah, I was getting nervous as well. It's like, okay, so BKB's on cooldown, Death Ward used literally on the steps of the well. Somebody should be taking this tower, and you look back, and it's still reasonably healthy. That is an opportunity missed here for 4ASC with the Bloodseeker dead, stuck in the well, when you actually have that concrete information and know that it's a dieback. No more Aegis, no more cheese. We'll see how long Roche will be coming up here in just about 2 minutes. Maybe they'll get lucky with a short timer. Still a reasonably even game here, even though the Anchors have a pretty big lead, like 8k net worth, 8k XP. As the 4 Clovers have shown us, they still have a sign of life.
All right, Waga has his halberd.
Okay.
This is actually a pretty big item now. BKBs are all low. If you can halberd that Shadow Fiend, this could make a real difference, Andrew.
And there's also no MKB on the Dire side, so that will help him stay alive just a little bit longer, a little more EHP.
Shadow Fiend, it's getting to the point where maybe Storm needs a damage item of some kind. Like an MKB on Storm is not bad by any means. Hex would be okay as well. I wouldn't mind an MKB, though, just to deal with the evasion that's coming out. Weeha's building some. There's an evasion of the Halberd of Waga, of course. Bloodseeker could build into some. But here's a smoke from 4 Clovers.
Weeha also has that Satanic ready to rock and roll. Something worth mentioning.
Could get caught. This is like the worst hero to lose off the bat.
Oh, Dazzle. He just has no idea.
He got off the self-grave, though, and now the fight breaks out. Weeha going to work here with the call-down as well as the Black Cannon, but answering them is Matumba Man, who's managed to keep Vanscore back. Now goes to the Death Ward. It's hitting nothing. It's a completely wasted Death Ward. Nemphy man modes up, tries to win the fight. Bambo will end him. A 2 for 2. Charging forward as Boogie. Yules will interrupt that, and meanwhile Storm has found Vanscore, and he'll get his sweet vengeance on that squishy Witch Doctor, but Boogie may pay the ultimate price as Bambo starts to lay into him. Where's the bash? Where's that 17%? Give me the 17%, says Boogie. He's not getting it. Matumba survives. He'll begin to clean up. 4 down. Bambo on the run. They BOT forward. Bambo stops to kill the creep. Beautifully played, but the charge will continue nonetheless. Yules can interrupt this, and he can keep on backing. Trixie needs to hit a hook. Will he find it? Trixie? He's not going to try. No, he goes for it.
Okay, he gets the creeps. So, fight recap. It's a 2 for 4, but they did have to buy back the clockwork to make that happen. Another one of these really chaotic fights where everything's just pulled apart. There's 4 dead for the Clovers, but all 4 of them have buybacks. No, 3 of them, pardon me. Dragonite is lacking right now. He's a little bit of gold short. There's a buyback available on the Shadow Fiend as well. They go right up to the high ground. No backdoor protection. There is a Radiant Glyph to kind of reset things out here, and Roche will be up in 30 seconds. Whoever finds a victory in this skirmish could also find that grand prize of Roshan. Now Glyph has been used, Rax exposed, Storm will get silenced by the Blood Right. No, Bambo just barely mistimes it. Now he goes in on the EGM. Glimmercake keeps it alive, but hook shot from Trixie isolates Bambo. This Bloodseeker is down. Still no buyback.
Buyback in 15. Do they want to buy back the other heroes to hold the line? Everybody could be up in about 10 seconds, but if they don't go now, they're not going to be able to buy back at all. 4 Anchors actually backing here, even though it looks like Bambo's dead for ages. It seems they've done the math and they realize he could potentially have to cool down for another buyback, if not the gold. And, well, I think good thing they did, Andrew. If they stuck around, that could have easily been another 4 or 5 heroes going down the other way.
Yeah, most definitely. You've got Vanscore with an ultimate ready to rock and roll. EGM still holding on to his ultimate. That's the right play. Unfortunately for the Dire side, they only get the ranged barracks, not the melee. That stays standing. So not the biggest of victories, but remember, the mid lane is also exposed from that pushing they did earlier. One more good team fight, and 4ASC can do some crippling damage to this Radiant base. Conversely, Radiant still have 2 tier 2 towers to chew through, so best they could hope for is maybe a mid lane of barracks or a tier 2 and a lane of barracks after that, but
so much depends on the next Roche at this point. Storm desperately wants this courier, trying to do a bit of Roche scouting.
Okay, he gets it. No cargo,
if
but
Matumba Man wants his Hex, he has it. Looks like that will be the choice here, going for more control over the extra damage of an MKB.
Buyback from the Bloodseeker. They know that there's a potential skirmish about to break out around the pit, and they want to make sure they have all 5. Now 2 buybacks on cooldown, the Clockwork and the Bloodseeker. What a tense game.
Can they contest the Roche? Can they risk it at this point with the Bloodseeker buyback on cooldown? Such a long time here.
Charge on the Vanscore. Gets cancelled straight away.
Fissure, gonna find Boogie. He's got BKB, he's got Grave. I don't really think you want to go on the cow here.
Yeah,
they're not going to chance it.
He's got a halberd as well, so 1 halberd apiece at the moment.
All right, MKB is feeling like an increasingly excellent item for a lot of these right-clicking heroes.
Yeah.
But Storm is slot challenged at this point. He's gotten to the point where he gets the Hex. He can replace the Orchid. I think it's a good item for Storm later on, but perhaps something else would be a little bit more high impact. We'll see. For now, though, he wants to save for buyback, and there's your hook.
Whoa.
Finds the creeps. Oh, baby.
All right, Trixie. Give me heart palpitations here.
Witch Doctor is BKB. That means there's hook and there's Nether Strike / charge to cancel the Death Ward. But he's at least going to hold it through the charge. So it means mainly just Nether Strike and hook.
Yeah,
to be able to get off that big Death Ward.
There is an Aghanim's, don't forget, so Trixie will be able to spam that out, but now he's in some trouble. He'll have to TP home after getting ruptured. Do they have an interrupt? They do! At the last second, Waga comes in with the Dragon Tail. Shallow Grave. Oh, Roche still alive. Trixie hook shots across to do what little he can before he falls. Now it's a 4v5, no buyback for Trixie. This could be the fight that the 4 Clovers have been waiting for. EGM gets dropped first. Roche still reasonably healthy as Weehawk tries to go as Mammo, but it's Vanscore with the Death Ward doing huge damage to the Dire side. Not enough to keep the Gyrocopter alive, but Bambo, he's just playing cleanup. Boogie's gonna go down. Valak's able to grave himself, but Matumba Man very low. The Dire side in big trouble. Only 1 survivor as he's stuck behind the trees. The Radiant will secure Roche. Oh my, what a play from Vanscore.
He's dropped his ultimate orb, he's not done yet. He wants to fall in and go for the Aegis Snipe, but 4 Clovers, uh-oh, there's the silence. He's out of range of the silence. He can still go for this. Matumba Man has a buyback, even if it fails. Let's see. No, he gets fissured. He can't make the move. He'll grab his ultimate orb and just sadly TP away. Bottom lane is pushing, though. The melee rack's in jeopardy here. Do they have any TPs?
We've got Cardi and Cardi's ugly brother here. Do they have the damage to bring it down?
Go down. They don't have a glyph. Get there. Run, Vanscore.
Somebody go!
Too late!
Oh.
They've lost the melee bottom. The mid gets caved in a bit as well.
Those super siege creeps, LD.
An expensive Roche take.
Oh my.
But they do manage to walk away with Aegis and Cheese, and they really needed it with Bambo not having buyback.
Absolutely. This game, 62 minutes in.
62 minutes. This is for all the marbles, baby. This is Elimination Dota here in Esportal.
And these teams are playing like it. I mean, this is still so close. This could be either team's game for the taking still. The Aegis Cheese will help for the 4 Clovers, but as we talked about, they're still in a very rocky position here with Tier 2 towers standing for the opposition. They have 1 Tier 3 remaining. 1 bad fight still, and this could be the anchors that come out victorious. And Trixie, his buyback cooldown is done in about 1:10. EGM also bought back in that last fight, so he won't have it for another 5 minutes.
That's pretty big. He will blink back towards the well. He's purchased a Ghost Scepter. He's the cheese bearer for now. Let's see if one thing to keep an eye on is, do we see like an excellent cheese pass in the middle of a fight? Could make the difference. Looks like Bambo is finally ready to say goodbye to that sweet, sweet Midas. So he may be about to pick up his next big item with the Aegis and with no buyback for some time. I think that's a good choice here. MKB is an option. Abyssal's
I think he's just going Manta. He's got the recipe on the courier, flying it out.
Really?
So interesting. Manta at 63 minutes
and still have some gold, but I think at that point he may just save for when the buyback cools down in 3 minutes.
It doesn't seem like your go-to late-game item at this point.
Manta's, especially on a melee hero who doesn't have mana burn, it's rather underwhelming at this stage. We have seen some sick Manta dodges, though, of the charge. If he can pull that off, the way that Weeha's been able to, then maybe it's a good pickup.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I mean, I still would be tempted to go for that MKB at this point, as we've talked about a few times.
Like his final 6-slotted inventory definitely includes an MKB, but
yeah,
I guess he's not quite there yet.
Okay, BOTs. How are we looking on the Boots of Travel count? 2 on the Dire side, only 1 on the Radiant. Weeha's the only one that's made the jump so far, and this stage of the game, they become very important. Even those upgraded BOTs for when those real crazy fights start. Whoa, I'm looking at that. Storm, long-range zip, jumps in onto EGM and just blows him up, and we'll make it out.
That ended... Oh, wait, no, that is a god. I was going to say, what? EGM is a godlike streak? No, he ended, he got one for himself.
That's a big deal. He's dead now. Maybe they didn't notice the buyback, but there's no shaker for a minute.
Storm is just one of the absolute most disgusting late game heroes ever. Even though he's not, like, the highest damage output carry necessarily, it's his mobility and ability to just pick up almost any hero at this stage of the game is unparalleled. He's got Hex, Orchid, incredible mana regen, the reach of... Stretch Armstrong, you just can't be on your own.
Yeah. And now a Shadow Blade for the Dragon Knight. So more Shadow Blade action.
Man, it's just so late.
This is just very strange itemization from Waga. He picked up like a 40-minute drums, then he went for Halberd, now a 60-minute
There's a couple of
Shadow
considerations here. It's, first of all, I think you really want to buy items you can buy at the base, because getting to the secret shop's a little tricky right now.
That's true.
He wants to buy cheap items that have easy build-up, because he's dying a lot. And it is an item that can be really strong late game. If the gem if 4 rankers ever lose their gem, and either forget to buy another or just have it on cooldown, that could be a game-changing item, because it gets to a point at this like 65-minute mark where even supports, they don't necessarily have the inventory slots for a gem.
Yeah.
For now, Spirit Breaker can hold it, but eventually you do get to that point where it's like, well, who holds the gem? Are they always going to be with their team?
That's a great point. And when you leave it to the supports, Dazzle, he's going to be in the back lines if he's carrying the gem, for example.
And even if he is, he may just die anyway if the Dragon Tail comes out quickly enough.
And plus, on top of that, you might not always be envisioned to show things. And there's
too late.
There's no room for dust, no room for sentries and inventories at this point. So it does. You're right. There does kind of become. It has this weird power curve where it comes back towards the late game.
Yeah, it's like pretty bad in the mid game generally for fighting, but it comes back to being a really strong item later on.
Okay, and we did talk about earlier how Waga hasn't really been able to find the initiation that the team needs because he didn't go Shadow Blade early on, was forced into that early BKB. So now maybe things can come full circle, and the Wagamama that was picked on so early on in this game can find that core initiation still with the Shadow Blade.
I have to say, for 66 minutes, everyone is like criminally underfarmed. We don't have a single like true, fully 6-slotted hero, I would say. Even the Gyro has not bought his Butterfly yet. He could still upgrade the BOTs. I think Manta maybe even gets replaced eventually. Although it's always nice as a second way to debuff
Shadow Fiend's pretty close. He can trade in that mech for a Scotty.
Trade in the mech, upgrade the BOTs.
There. Yeah.
I guess and then the only other place to go is like that 7th slot for a refresher / buyback, but I guess we're getting there. It's 67 minutes in. At this point, you often have like 4 or 5 heroes like fully 6-slotted, but everyone's been dying a lot. I mean, you look at, nobody's got less than 6 deaths, which is actually quite a bit.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now the Dazzle, he's able to pick up an Aghanim Scepter. Not so often you see Dazzles get to farm that one up. Decent upgrade, increases the radius so that you can actually reliably connect on your team and at least 1 or 2 of the opposition, or vice versa, because the radius is just so damn big. And it does make a difference with how fast that armor ticks. And, you know, you can feel pretty tanky, but after even just 5-10 seconds with the weave on, you're losing that armor. Now the Butterfly for Weeha. So this Gyro
they have no MKBs on 4 anchors. This could actually be a game-changing item.
You're right. They have absolutely no way to deal with this. Looks like Nemphy will be grabbing one next. He's sold his mech now, has Demon Edge, and actually does have enough gold to complete the MKB, but will want to pool for buyback at this stage for sure.
Shadow Fiend going to be hitting very hard. The Gyro will as well. At this point,
Trixie's going for a Lincoln's. Interesting late game choice.
What? It's a good general item, this game. There's a lot of spells that are pretty, like the homing missile is very spammable to remove it, but I think it's more like throw it on a carry when they're in harm's way, maybe throw it on Matumba Man. Speaking of whom, could get silenced to caught out here. I mean, he can always BKB that, so...
Yeah, I think your only hope is if you can Yules him and then catch him like in that perfect timing.
You gotta like Yules, Echo... just chain stun him at that point.
Yeah, it's hard to pull off. I mean, Storm's...
And then there's always the Graves counterplay you have to worry about, so it's very risky to overcommit on that.
Yeah,
and it's Storm. Storm's going to respawn very quickly at this stage. With 16 Bloodstone charges, he's balled into the enemy jungle. Thought he was going for a kill there. Back off.
So both teams being much more passive now, and there is a lot on the line, so understandably so. Next Roche, we'll see what that timer looks like in just a moment. Bambo scouting out Matumba Man here. Hanging it out, but his teammate's not nearby enough to make a kill happen. Here we go. Yule set up into the blood right.
They do force up the BKB, but it's a 5-second BKB. If you're 4 anchors, you just wait 50 seconds. No reason to fight now.
Yep. Roche, okay, just seconds before the timer. Both teams camping out knowing that could be lucky and get a Roche pretty soon. They want to start getting some momentum
here. They just TP'd Storm top, which means he won't be around the squad to help out. He's going to split push. Gem coming out now for your Witch Doctor. Right? More for dewarding, I think, than anything else.
Yeah, most certainly.
This is a tense game. It really could go either way. One item we didn't... I don't know if we actually got to talk about it. Your favorite hero, the Dazzle.
Yep.
The Dazzleator did get that Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. It's pretty good.
Very good, this game. 4 Clovers is probably... At this point, early on, they were much more magic damage, but now they're mostly physical. The Bloodseeker right clicks, unless they get a... Well, they do have the big AoE combo, but like you're looking at the Death Ward and the Flat Cannon, to me, the 2 biggest damage sources.
Yeah.
Dazzle ulti's really good against those.
Yeah. I mean, this game is getting...
They're going in mid, ball forward. Oh, he BKB'd for that as well.
Oh, now Bambo invisible. Maybe they can try and make a catch here on a Matumba Man. Nope, just a little too elusive.
The thing is, for 4 acres, those are very low-risk plays. Like, how are they going to punish that? If he goes in and you BKB or dodge away, he just balls out. He doesn't... Unless he overcommits and has no mana, it's really a no-risk maneuver, and they can keep on going for it. That's... Just the frustrating thing about playing at Storm. At this stage of the game, he can always take those kinds of risks, and they're really not much of a risk at all. And now Storm actually gets the upgraded BOT, so he can now teleport right onto heroes, and that is really scary. Once these boots come out, that's when rat plays become a reality. Someone looks isolated, then all of a sudden you don't have that numbers advantage you thought you did. It's a very weird item that has actually taken me a little while to get used to its existence. You know, there was never before a way to just jump on top of somebody else's hero, but if you get 2-3 sets of those, you can have one person isolate. Hey, this is an easy pick off, and all of a sudden, the whole team arrives. It's yeah, they can be really scary, especially if it's a very tanky hero that bursts quickly. It's just a very different late game mechanic that we actually don't get to see that often because it's so expensive and so luxury. But glad it's coming into play here. Roche up in less than a minute. It's a pretty long timer. But about 30 seconds away. Charge on the EGM, but they don't really want to commit. Both teams fencing back and forth. We hit the 71-minute mark now. Nobody with a clear advantage. It's a 10k gold lead. That is nothing at this point. 91k to about 101k net worth. We're looking at like a 10% difference. It's just marginal, to say the least. Buyback-wise, most of the cores have it. 4 buybacks on the Dire, only 2 on the Radiant, but the big ones do. The Bloodseeker, the Gyrocopter. This is still anybody's game, and they're just waiting for the Roche. All right, he's up right now. They glimmered in the Shaker. I don't think the man sees it. Also, MKB's now been picked up on the Shadow Fiend. He also has enough gold for buyback. He's finally hit that sweet spot where he's feeling very comfortable and has something to deal with this butterfly. He is hitting so hard. And there's also the Dazzle offensively to worry about. This Shadow Fiend is definitely the biggest single target hitter at this point, far outstripping the Gyrocopter. Yeah, and that's the great thing about the upgraded Weave is that you can you can pretty reliably hit some of your allies and some of your enemies in the same. It's a big enough radius that it's pretty hard to not hit both unless you really try. Bo worming around here looking for the openings. He's just taking very aggressive moves around the map. Now, he doesn't have BOT, so even if he buys back, he's not going to be able to join the fight right away. I guess he could sell treads. I don't even know if he has enough at that point. I don't think so, actually. How much is his buyback? Buyback's 1900. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna have enough. Bambo? Oh, sorry, I was looking at the spear. 2125. Yeah, I don't think he has it. Well, it's pretty comparable math actually. Spirit Breaker's got about 3,000 gold and a similar buyback. I want this Roche. Bambo says no. He's gonna lead with the silence. BKB can come if needed. They rupture him and they engage, but going the other way is Matumba Man. straight onto the Shaker. He's found him off the bat. He doesn't finish him, though. Now Panic starts to run. He's used up almost all his mana. Meanwhile, Trixie's on the backside, keeping EGM off the fight while the real fight breaks out. Bankscore going with the Deathlord, just gets chunked down by Nymphy. And now it's up to Bambo, trapped by 4. They don't have the Shaker back up. Where's the Echo? It's just not going to be here. It looks like he's been completely forced out of the fight. Waga on the run. Matamba doing work. Valk's kept alive by the self-grave. But everyone's surviving for now in 4 Clovers. Now they start to lose the entire kit and caboodle. Bambo driven back. Another ball forward by Matamba, who's got buyback if necessary. Bambo engaging. He gets the bash. He snipes him. Ending a godlike streak. That's 1,400 gold going his way. Bambo all of a sudden has a new item, but now he's got to get the hell away. Cue the Benny Hill music. Run, Bambo. Run, Bambo. Run. And he will make it. There's a hook. There you go. Found him on the retreat, but doesn't have the vision to bring him down. Bambo keeps on trucking.
And no cogs
to tell the tale.
Oh my god, what a crazy fight. It started off with Trixie in a horrible position. He was pushing mid when the fight broke out over here. He barely got there in time and whiffed the first hook shot to get in the fight. That was essentially a 4v5, 4AC with the 4, and they still come out ahead.
Have Echo. Are they going to make a move here? Nymphy, Fissure. Do they want to really? They bought back the gyro, but they're not going in just yet.
Okay, for ASC, they will retreat now. Glyph has come out.
No, they're not.
Away.
No, they won't. They've just brought in reinforcements. Storm's coming.
It's a fake back. They turn him into a piggy. The Earthshaker will go down first. Now on the other side, BKB used by Bambo, but he gets blown up by the Storm. He's dead. Instant buyback, but Weehaw, soon to be a dieback. It looks like he's trying to lifesteal through it. He pops the Satanic, but it's just not enough. He's dead, stuck in the grave for over 100 seconds. Now Trixie and Matamba Man in pretty deep. Vanscore doing a lot of damage. Matamba Man, he's just tanking the whole damn thing, but making some space for Nymphy to pressure these barracks. He's going for the sure damage on the ranged barracks. They'll lose the Storm. He commits suicide, but now Boogie, he reinitiates. Nymphy still trying to do as much damage as he can. He's purple from the curse. They just need to focus the barracks. Get the damn structures. Boogie, he's got the right idea. He gets the melee barracks. It was all worth it. Now Bash trying to make his retreat. He'll charge across.
Get out of here.
Woo, and they get both barracks as well. Now on the other side, Waga trying to chase down Nymphy. This could be a man fight.
This is not a fight Waga's winning. Run, you stinking dragon. They do bring in Valix as well. No way that he can get Nymphy. He'll have to accept the loss. Oh, expensive fight for the Radiant. They blow the buybacks on the Gyro and the Bloodseeker. It's a dieback on the Gyrocopter. And now they have no buybacks. 4 anchors, still have a Roshan to collect. Do they even need it, though? They ball in on Bambo.
They force a BKB. That's a minor victory there.
They can go Rosh, I think, right now.
Yeah, 2 lanes of barracks down, just this top
There's
lane
a charge
standing.
on Bambo, so they see where he's running around. Are they re-engaging? Boogie! Oh,
God, this crazy
they
cow.
just won't give up.
For ASC, they could go to Roche, but they're still just lingering around. Very afraid to get cut off or get caught off here, but they know the Gyro's dead. Gyro actually also ate a moon shard. I don't think I noticed that, but
all right. Well, now he's 7 slotted.
Yep, he is officially 7 slotted, but they know he's dead. That was a dieback for him. Now they go to the Roche pit. No way for the Clovers to contest this. This will be another Aegis and
he's
Shield.
just not a man fight carry. He doesn't generally win 1v1s against most strong late game heroes, and we saw at that fight he couldn't even take down the Shadow Feed. I think he had already eaten the moon shard. Here comes a massive smoke gank. 4 Clovers. It's all in now, baby. They got nothing after this. They have to win this fight, and they have to win it convincingly. They start with the Rupture on Nymphy, then the Silence comes out, zoning everyone a bit, but Matamba Man just calmly zips past it. Hook isolates Bambo, keeps him out of the fight. Nymphy got off the Requiem, but he's a little bit out of support here. Now Grave, he's running in Wallgrave, auto-attacking Bankscore, may bring him down Wallgrave, he will! They echo, they just can't finish the job. This Dazzle saving the day. Nymphy survives through it all. The cogs are there again from Trixie. Valix on the hunt, chasing back EGM, and it's looking like the end of 4 Clovers run now. Matamba re-engaging. He fights his way through. He's gotten 7,000 gold. The entire team out of control. They'll pile onto Weehaw. Satanics for ages. Can he finally survive through this one? They hex him. They end him. He's dead. Bambo's next. 4 down, and with that, 4 anchors. It's game. They have finally staved off the inevitable.
Oh my,
and
there it is.
Push through for the win.
GG, well played. What a chaotic fight to end things there. The Shadow Fiend with that clutch Satanic to just barely stay alive. He didn't have the Aegis, it was on the Spirit Breaker. So if he dies there, that fight looks a little bit different. He had more than enough gold for a buyback, so probably wasn't going to swing the other way. But man, a nail biter till the bitter end. What an exciting Game 3 to get things wrapped up, man. Both these teams playing their hearts out, and let's go around the anchors, squeak out a win, and move on to the playoffs.